Hello everybody and welcome back to the Dragon's Library. Today we are discussing Halloween Kills, the newest movie in the Halloween franchise. Okay, let's get into this. Halloween Ends is the fourth movie in the new reboot trilogy, which is like the fifth timeline of the Halloween movies. Don't bother trying to keep this all straight. Trust me, all you need to know is Halloween 1 happened, reboot Halloween happened, and then Halloween Kills happened, and now Halloween Ends is here. So, after Halloween Kills, Michael Myers escapes, kills most of the town, or a lot of the town people who fought him, and disappears. 3 years on, after a big old tragedy involving a kid who got accidentally pushed off the balcony railings of the stairs due to a prank gone wrong with a babysitter, the town is basically turned in on itself, blaming each other and everyone else, trying to basically create a new boogeyman. Because they had to blame someone after Michael Myers destroyed the sense of community their town used to have. Laurie and her daughter, well, not her daughter's dead due to Halloween Kills, spoiler alert. Laurie and her granddaughter are trying to move on, with Laurie trying to look to a positive outcome and trying to move away from the tragedy that's defined her life. Meanwhile, her granddaughter is still somewhat upset about her mother, sees herself as like all that's there to take care of her grandmother. Grandmother wants to see her be happy, constantly trying to set up her dates like that. She's getting pastoral promotions for her coworker, who's clearly sleeping with her boss, and life is just like tolerable but not great. After Laurie takes pity on the new pariah of the town and tries to convince her daughter to go on a date with her, and some stuff happening involving Michael Myers maybe coming back, some new murders prompt chaos and destruction. All in all, look, it's a new Halloween movie, and they're trying to say it's going to be the last one, but we all know how this ends. Ah, there it is. However, before we get into the good and the bad, let's go over the characters. Obviously, we have Jamie Lee Curtis reprising her role as Laurie Strode, the survivor of Michael Myers' 1978 killing spree, and Allison's grandmother. In addition, we have Andy Marichuk as Allison Nelson, Laurie's granddaughter, from both the reboot and Halloween Ends. Not Halloween Ends, the reboot Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. Then we got Will Pattinson as Deputy Frank Hawkins. He shows up a few times. Rohan Campbell is Corey Cunningham. He's the new outcast, and more, not gonna say because spoilers, who sort of becomes the new Michael Myers, I guess. There's a lot more to him than that, but yeah, he's sort of like the new wannabe Michael Myers. Then we've got, two unimportant side characters, and James Jude Courtney as Michael Myers. They also get Nick Castle, who portrayed him in the original film, to come back to do some voiceover work. He also apparently does a cameo scene in the party as a different character, so that was interesting. Anyway, let's get into this. It's a horror slasher movie. It's also a Halloween movie, so let me go over what I like first, because I do like to try and be positive and fair to movies. First up, Jamie Lee Curtis. She's doing a good job still. I don't know what to say. She's probably the best thing in this movie. She's a good actor, doing a good job with the script that's given to her, even if the script is meh at best of times. I do feel like she should be done with these movies by now, but hopefully now that this Halloween has ended, she can finally move on from this shit. Although we all know they're going to reboot this in a decade or so, no wet rest for the weary. Anyway, Allison's character, played by Andy, she's not as great, although I think the script is mostly doing her dirty. She does a pretty good job at times, especially when she starts getting angry and upset at Laurie, even though, quite frankly, the actor's doing a good job, but the script is completely unrealistic. Seriously, the whole reboot movie was Laurie's Sarah Connor doomsday prepping for Michael Myers' return, and her daughter and granddaughter think she's crazy. Then he comes back and she has to defend them, And so, after that movie and Halloween Kills, they were all on board. They believed Laurie, and Allison was all gung-ho to kill Michael Myers. But when you come out to this movie, she ends up getting upset at Laurie for being paranoid about Michael Myers again. And I'm like, yeah, because she knows what she's talking about. You already had this argument. Now you're having it with a different character, but Laurie clearly sees the same thing, and you're not listening to her because you're saying she's PTSD. And I'm like, dude, you already got over the fact that she's not crazy in that. Not the last movie, the movie before this. why are we revisiting this? Why they should already have their relationship mostly worked out there. I get the mom dying apparently with some stress, but it's just kind of a stupid plot point. Aside from that, Corey Cunningham, I kind of liked him as a villain. I gotta admit, I liked his slow turn into Michael Myers. Michael Myers was sort of like this icon, almost like he killed his sister when he was like 5 years old or whatever. It's like, yeah, he was like a monster from birth. The whole thing is like he was like pure evil is the thing in the lore now. And Corey has like a lot more complicated, but like it's very clear something broke eventually, and now he's basically as bad. I did really enjoy his performance. Corey Cunningham is probably the second best actor behind Laurie Strode, but again, the script is just like he's a good actor, and I like him when he's being the murderer, but jeez, the script just did him dirty on some of these lines. Like he has some just painful lines to listen to. And I get they're trying to make him a creep, but some of it just comes across as almost like laughable bad. All in all, the cast is okay. I will say the casting of this is pretty good. The actual script is just kind of all over the place. So let's get into what I didn't like. Because honestly, I liked the characters and I loved the kills. Like I mentioned, I enjoyed watching Corey being the murderer. Aside from that, it's just, painful. So, first up, the script. It's bad. I mean, it's a Halloween movie. The only one that had a decent script was the first one. And arguably, I'd actually say there were parts of the previous Halloween Kills movie that was good. I actually really liked the whole town turning on Innocent Man, him jumping off the roof, and them wondering, like, what the hell have we done? I actually think that doesn't get enough credit, because they sequel-baited the hell out of that movie and destroyed any message it was trying to send about us being the real monsters and what have we become and finally putting the evil behind us. It destroyed the narrative arc of that movie, and I feel like it was literally made so this movie could exist. Like, I feel like they ruined a better movie so that they can make a pale imitation of the same basic idea of the evil affected us and so we created evil too. And it's like, yeah, you already did that. That was the last movie, and you did a better job of showing it there. Then, in addition to that, we have just the pacing. And I've been on a pacing for a few other movies this year, because I think that, like, if you notice bad pacing, it's a problem. Because, holy shit, I also gotta talk about this Black Adam movie, because that movie's just like a list of bullshit. This one actually does have some good pacing, like in the murder scenes and stuff like that. The problem is, it takes like half the movie to get to the killing. And it's like, this is a slasher movie, and we're going through, like, Laurie and her daughter's, lives, and they're, she's going to the hospital, and Laurie's going around town. Michael Myers does not show up till, like, the halfway point, when Corey finds him. And there's, like, one kill shortly after that, and that's when the killing starts, and it's like, what the hell is even going on here? Like, it shows, like, Corey getting bullied, it shows Allison has the intro scene where Corey accidentally kills the kid. It's just all this extra stuff added on there. It's like, you could chop a lot of this out. Like, some of it, yeah, the meeting Corey and him getting involved in Laurie and everything, getting involved in this whole little world, fine. But, like, a lot of the side stuff, you could just, like, chop down the time length. This whole thing where, like, they drag out the scene where he meets the kid and then Laurie's, like, going to pop their tires, and it's like, yes. It's like, okay, it's a cute little scene. You could have cut down the chaff around that by about, like, half, because the writing's not good enough to justify it, and I feel like this could have been like a 90-minute movie instead of a 111-minute movie without any issue. Like, you could chop down, you could lose none of the good bits, like the killing and the tension, the second half. Just the first half, take an axe to it with the editing. I genuinely, it's just so slow-paced at the beginning. And not like a slow-building tension kind of way. There's not that creeping dread. It's just very mundane. And I get that they might have been going for that, like, simple guy snaps kind of deal, but it just doesn't fit the Halloween movies. Sorry. In addition, I'm just gonna say this. This movie shouldn't exist. Halloween Kills should have been the last one. They should have had Michael Myers actually die in that one, and the town finally put away the demon, They even have a scene that could have literally slotted into the end of that one instead of the clusterfuck at the end. And I almost feel like it probably would have been. And it would have been better. It would have been better. In addition, also, although it's not explicitly stated, and the executives seem to have forced the writers to leave a loophole that they can reboot this whole series with, even with Michael dead, and he does die in this one. I will be revealing that. So, you know what? It's just... I can't like this. Like, as much as I want to say, yeah, it's better than the average slasher movie, it's like, is it really? The more I think of it, I was okay with it in the... in doing it, and it tries to have some themes about, the evil of the town and finally expelling it, finally getting rid of it, finally moving on. And I'm like, yeah, but they had to reckon with that evil in themselves in the last one. Like, the whole town drove a man to commit suicide because they thought he was Michael Myers. He was just an escaped mental patient who had some mental issues. He wasn't even a murderer. He was just like a sick person. And they all had to realize, holy shit, we caused this guy to commit suicide. You know what? No, we need to go after the actual villain. We need to put this to rest. We can never let this happen again. That was the last one. They just had that clusterfuck of an ending so they could have this movie. And as a result, they tried to do something similar in this movie, and it almost rings hollow. Like, I'm glad they finally got to kill Michael Myers. I'm glad about that, but there is no reason for this movie to exist. In conclusion, Halloween Ends is a okay slasher movie. There's not really anything that elevates it. I would say if you were going to watch something, I'd almost say watch Halloween Kills up to the ending, and then watch the last, few minutes of this where they put everything at rest. And it would actually probably be a better movie than either of the others. Than either of these individual movies. Its focus on new characters is okay, I think. I've heard other people say, why are you focusing on these new people? It's like, yeah, but it's almost trying to be a weird requel thing, even though it's trying to finish a reboot series that's rebooting the reboot, and it's just so convoluted at this point. They just need to stop making these movies. They don't have anything more to say. They said the last few interesting things you could say about this franchise with Halloween Kills, and they're kind of just running through that playbook again. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. Not even close. On a technical level, it's mostly fine. The writing is pretty subpar, but it's not, offensively bad. It's just genuinely whatever. It's just whatever. So, yeah. I wouldn't say you have to see this. If you're a big Halloween fan, go for it. Maybe you'll get a kick out of this. The murders are at least fun. The tension, the slasher parts, those are good. So, what are you going to do? With that out of the way, we're going to move into the spoiler section. If you want to see my other review for Halloween Ends, not Halloween Ends, that's the one I'm talking about right now, Halloween Kills, that will be in the description below. Look on the timestamp on screen if you want to skip to the announcements to see what's going to be coming up this week and next week, because I'm going to be on vacation next week, but I am going to have videos lined up, hopefully to sate you guys. I know I've been very erratic in my upload schedule. Talk about that near the end. So, if you want to skip to that, go to the timestamp on screen. Alright, everybody gone? Don't worry, there's not much to say about this. So, for the spoiler section, it takes place, so basically in 2019, Corey Cunningham was babysitting this kid named Jeremy, and he pulls a prank, tricking him into thinking Michael Myers is around, and then locking him in the attic. While Corey's trying to bust his way out, the kid's taunting him just before the parents get home. Corey is very scared and wants to get out, and he kicks the door open and accidentally knocks Jeremy over the staircase railing to his death. He's then, accused of killing him, but he's found innocent because it's very clear that he lured him up there by placing knives and stuff, and literally that kid was a little shit and looked like he was almost trying to frame Corey for attempted murder. He just didn't expect Corey to be able to kick the door open. Really horrible person to do. So 3 years later, the town is still reeling from Michael Myers' killing spree in 2018. And Michael vanished immediately afterwards. Laurie, her daughter ended up getting killed in that weird, creepy, whatever the hell that was ending. I ranted about that so much in my Halloween Ends previews. Again, this movie only exists because they wanted to stretch Halloween Kills into 2 movies. Apparently, the director the McBride, he's the writer, had intended to pitch 2 films that we shot back to back, but decided against it, so they wanted to wait to the reaction to the first film, which is why this first film seems to play the whole arc, but it doesn't actually wrap up the story because they didn't know they were going to get 2 films. And Halloween ends up being a love story. It doesn't feel right. It feels dumb. This whole thing feels dumb. Anyway, we spend like most of the time with Laurie trying to get Corey to date her granddaughter Allison, because she's really throwing herself into her work. The doctor is constantly overlooking her for her attractive coworker who's sleeping with him for promotions and stuff like that, while she's working herself to death. And, the 2 of them go to a party and they kind of hit it off. But her ex-boyfriend shows up and harasses them, and... or no, that's later. So they end up going to a party where he's confronted by the kid's mother, Jeremy, who ends up, telling him, like, why are you happy and enjoying your life? My son didn't get that. And he ends up leaving. He gets angry because Allison didn't notice it, and she's, like, runs after him. He runs into some bullies who throw him off the bridge and leave because they're mostly assholes, aside from the one girl who was, like, the innocent who didn't deserve to die in the end. He gets dragged in the sewers and controlled by Michael Myers, who lets him go. And he ends up killing the homeless man. We're, like, halfway in at this point. He finally actually freaking kills somebody. And so they go on a dinner date. They run into Allison's ex-boyfriend, and Corey ends up luring him to the sewers and killing him, or lures him to the sewers and helps. Michael Myers helps kill Doug with Corey's help, and Corey is now like possessed by the evil of Michael Myers. And apparently, by killing people, Michael Myers the more people you kill, the quicker Michael Myers' healing ability is, and he somehow passed it on to Corey for plot reasons. Anyway, Corey ends up starting to get revenge by, on people who have got angered him and Allison. Laurie is actually at this point, like, very encouraging and like, hey, if you want to move on with your life, move on with your life. I'm happy you're, finding happiness with Corey. But she starts to get suspicious as murders start piling up. Corey kills the doctor at his home, while the nurse ends up getting killed by Michael when she tries to get away. Michael seems to be, like, grooming Corey into, like, a successor or whatever. But Laurie becoming increasingly suspicious of him. After finding him sleeping in the spot Jeremy died, Laurie offers to help him, but it turns out it's just a hallucination. And then Corey returns to the sewers, fights Michael Myers, takes his mask and knife, and goes on a full-on killing spree. Burns down the DJ station that had taunted and told lies about Allison, murders the bullies in the salvage yard, and they accidentally kill his stepfather in the process. And then at his home, Laurie fakes a suicide attempt to lure Corey out. She ends up shooting him down the stairs, and then he stabs in the neck to flame Laurie just as Allison arrives. Michael then arrives, kills Corey for realsies because he has the healing ability, so even though it looked like he died, he hadn't actually died yet. Laurie, who had been, going into the kitchen like, what have I done? No, Allison's going to hate me forever, ends up fighting Michael Myers one last time, putting him to the table. Allison arrives to help her finally kill him. But obviously this is Michael Myers, so just because they've literally slit both his wrists, cut his throat, and stabbed him in the heart does not mean they think he's dead, because I gotta make this very clear, Laurie has learned her freaking lesson. So they end up tying him to the police car, and they basically lead a procession out of town. I will say, the ending is like the one part of the movie that's like, finally, a horror character acting with some actual intelligence. So they literally end up throwing Michael Myers' body into like an industrial shredder, with the entire residents of Hawkins like carry his body to the shredder, and they all watch, and we see his head literally get crushed between the machinery's gears, which is the sort of closure you need to ensure a horror movie villain isn't going to get back up and kill you. And once all that's done, they, just go on their lives. Allison and Laurie apologize to each other and make up. Allison leaves to finally put all this behind her. Laurie finishes her memoir and then goes off to, go on a book tour with Deputy Hawkins, and they finally have that happily ever after. And it's just this moment of, it's all good, except there's one little thing. See, Laurie, and this is the part that makes me angry, because the loophole they wrote in. See, they never tell us what happens to Corey Cunningham. His body, specifically. Remember, he gained Michael Myers' healing ability, and he had already healed once after after he was already healing from Laurie stabbing him in the throat. And we've seen Michael survive, snap necks and stuff like that. So, I think he's still alive, or at least he's in a theoretical Schrodinger's box case for the writer's perspective. See, they don't say anything like his body went missing, he'll be a threat. They literally don't mention him at all after Michael kills him. He's just left there in the house while they carry Michael's body there. There's no, he went missing, but there's also no, we burned his body to make sure he's never coming back kind of thing. And as a result, I have this horrible feeling that basically, canonically, he's dead. But since he has Michael's spirit of evil or whatever, if they want to make a new movie and they don't want to, break this continuity, which they, it's Halloween, breaking continuity is kind of its thing, franchise-wise. The only movie that actually freaking matters in any of these is the original Halloween. It's the only constant across timelines. Except for that one time they abandoned it, but we don't talk about that. Anyway, if they wanted another movie, they would literally just start up by showing his body in the morgue, them saying, this guy was a real piece of shit, leaving the body, suddenly he gets up, and then he, goes to the junkyard, looks at his father's dead body, finds the tattered remains of the William Shatner mask, picks it up, and it's just like, I am Michael Myers now. And then smash cut to Halloween later that year. That's literally all they gotta do to make a new movie, and it pisses me off. They should have crushed his body too. Just saying. But they don't want to, because there was most likely an executive note saying, no, we need him off-screen, in this little quantum bubble that we can say he's dead, but he's not actually dead, if we decide he's not. It's like, whatever, people. Can't even freaking get full closure in the last movie that's calling itself Halloween Ends, because we all know this isn't the last movie. You know how I know that? It cost $20 million to make, and made $83 million. So far. Yeah, this thing isn't dead. This movie made money, so they're gonna make another. That's just our world now, unfortunately. Anyway, with all that said and done, that's gonna be out for the spoiler section. I don't really have much else to say. With that out of the way, we're gonna move on to the announcements. And I only have a few things to talk about here, so I'm gonna make it quick. So, still working on the Steel Rising review, and I've also recently finished watching Dead End Paranormal Park Season 2, so you'll look for a review for that coming soon. And this past weekend, I saw the Black Adam movie, which I will be reviewing. So, since I'm going to be on vacation next week, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to try and get all these reviews finished recording, edited, and ready to go by Friday or Saturday. Then, I'm going to upload them for timed releases over the course of the next 2 weeks. So I'm going to upload Dead End Paranormal Park as a Halloween special kind of thing, because it's a spooky-ish show. And I'm going to have that on Thursday. I'm going to hopefully have Steel Rising come out on Tuesday, and Black Adam on Thursday. If you want to keep up to date with this stuff, follow me on Twitter. I will likely be making an announcement. It's Dragon _Library 2. I will likely be making an announcement to, update you guys if there's an issue. That's the schedule so far. I'm hopeful I won't have any more, missing days, because I had this last week, I forgot to release my video. I forgot to record all this, and I was just so tired and wiped. I was doing a lot of work on the game still. But the major patch is out now. I'm going to be doing smaller updates to work out any bugs, but I'm not going to be doing a major level pack release for a while, so I should have time to focus on this and get these all taken care of. Hope you enjoyed the video. On your screen, you should be seeing a link to my channel. You go there and subscribe, that'd be great. In addition, you'll be seeing 2 other links. One's to my Season 2 playlist, that's all the videos from 2022. In addition, below that, you should be seeing a link to a video that YouTube apparently recommends you click on. So, why not click on it? See one of my other videos. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe it'll have something else you'll enjoy. Maybe YouTube doesn't know shit. We'll find out together.